Hello, and welcome back to the Brown Butter Sage channel, where we discuss culture, cuisine, the arts, and more. I have missed you guys. It's been a couple of months. I'm sorry that I have been kind of low key. I suffered a loss to my family recently. I lost my father this past summer, and it has been a very difficult time. I'm getting through it, and my family has a lot of peace, and we have a lot of love and comfort. But it is a huge thing to happen, a huge transition. And so I absolutely had to take some time just to reflect and to handle affairs and to grieve. I'm still grieving. If you've lost a loved one, then you know that the grieving process never really ends. And I love my father dearly, so it's going to be very difficult to move forward, but we do move forward because life goes on, and he would want me to, to continue to thrive and to live with the wisdom that he has instilled in me. So love you, Daddy, and I am going to do that and continue to do that just with this channel. With the subscribers that I've lost, I hope they come back. For everybody who has stuck around, to continue to hear what I would have to say whenever I would have to say it later on down the line. I truly appreciate you still being here. Now, with that said, I want to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone. And I also wanted to talk about giving today because it's Thanksgiving, right? So we should talk about that. Recently, I noticed that Mackenzie Scott, who was a philanthropist and a billionaire, was giving away a whole lot of money to HBCUs. Now, she has donated to HBCUs before, years before, but this year it seemed to have gotten a lot more attention in the media, and I don't know if that was intentional. But I'm really glad that her contributions have been circulating because it's good to see, it's refreshing to see right now, and it's not about bragging. And I want to talk a little bit about that later, but it's good that people understand this because giving back in the way that she's doing is infectious. And no, most of us are not billionaires, so it's not about giving millions and millions of money away like she is, but it is about giving back what you can with what you have, and all of us really do have something to give. So let's talk about a little bit about Mackenzie first. I mean, like I said, she's a philanthropist, she's a novelist, and she was an early contributor to Amazon, which most of you know. Mackenzie attended Princeton University, which I don't know if most of you do know, and she majored in English. And while she was there, she took a creative writing course with none other than the late, great Toni Morrison. Now, Toni Morrison was a novelist herself. She received a Pulitzer, and she was the first Black woman to receive a Nobel Prize in 1993 and the first Black woman to become a senior editor. She did so at Random House. So Toni was a big deal. And her wisdom, just remains, honestly, a lot of her words and just the exploration of the Black experience that she kind of showcased for us. Her work was really deep. Well, while Toni was teaching at Princeton, she encountered Mackenzie as a student, and she became a mentor for her throughout college and really throughout the rest of her life. Over the years, she reached out to her Mackenzie reached out to Toni for advice, recommendation letters. I mean, pretty much, everything that we all usually do with our mentors. And Toni actually said that Mackenzie was the best student she ever had. And Mackenzie said that she learned compassion, humanity, and philanthropy from Toni Morrison. So she was a good student because Mackenzie was married to Jeff Bezos, the co-founder of Amazon. They were married from 1993 to 2019. And when they divorced, she received about $36 billion in the settlement, and then she quickly signed a giving pledge promising to give most of her wealth away during her lifetime or in her will. And she has absolutely kept her word. Mackenzie has given away about $19 billion to more than 2,400 organizations worldwide. She focuses on causes that include, housing and disaster relief, education, and racial equity. And she hit two of those birds with one stone by her recent donations to historically Black colleges and universities. Now, as most of us know, HBCUs are critical institutions for our community. They were created to offer an affirming, scholastic environment for Black students since back when we were denied admissions to other schools. And so as such, it's very important for these institutions to continue to thrive in America. And just recently, she's donated over $700 million to 15 HBCUs, gifts ranging anywhere from $19 million to $80 million in one shot. Okay. And at this particular time in America, like where we're seeing diversity attacked and inclusion ridiculed, and while many billionaires seem to line their own pockets and continue to do so without any regard to the average person who is just trying to get by, it is uniquely refreshing to see Mackenzie donate all of this money to any cause, really, but specifically to HBCUs. And she recently wrote in a Medium article about giving back. And I really have to share a few of these passages with you because they really cement everything that I wanted to share with you guys today about giving. There's a prophecy written by Hopi elders in the year 2000. It encourages us to recognize and celebrate our role as active participants in the co-creation of our communities. It is easy to focus on the methods of civil participation that make news, and hard to imagine the importance of the things we do each day with our own minds and hearts. Who nurtured a child in the kitchen? Who was kind to a stranger in a line at a grocery store? Who gave $50 to a local food shelter? These are not news stories, but all of it matters. When my next cycle of gifts is posted to my database online, the dollar total will likely be reported in the news, but any dollar amount is a vanishingly tiny fraction of the personal expressions of care being shared into this world this year. To use just 1 year in the United States as an example, the total donated to U.S. charities of all kinds in 2020 was $471 billion, nearly a third of it in increments of less than 5,000. There was also $768 billion in reported financial support sent to family members living in other countries, tens of billions in crowdfunding, $200 billion in volunteer labor service organizations, and nearly $700 billion in wages for the paid employees who chose to take jobs delivering those services over jobs where they might have earned more. What if the fact that some of our organizations are vulnerable can itself be a powerful engine for our generosity? What if acts of service that we can feel but not always measure expand our capacity for connection and trust? What if there is a way for all of us to make a difference in leading and shaping our countries? Votes are not the only way to show what we'd like to see more of in our societies. There are many ways to influence how we move through the world and where we land. And I don't know, I think that last part is might be the most significant because, I hear a lot today that people don't think that their votes matter, and that, they don't feel like voting. And so it's important to kind of reinforce that even in that mindset, like even if we had, best of all possible scenarios with voting, we're able to vote, votes are not attacked, they're not oppressed, everybody's able to vote equitably, and it's no problem, and we get the people that we want in office that are supposed to do the things that they promise. You're still going to have to apply yourself, your humanity, your kindness, your wisdom, your know-how to this society. You're still going to have to do that in order to ensure that these politicians and that these institutions, nonprofit organizations, you name it, that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. We still have to hold them accountable, because even in the best of possible scenarios, it doesn't mean that we can just vote and forget about it, or that we can just donate and forget about it. Like, you still have to be an active part of the system if you want to see change, if you want people to be helped. It takes a lot. It takes a lot, and it's consistent, and it can seem like you're not getting anywhere. You dig one pile of dirt, and here comes another pile of dirt. And yeah, but like I said, it's rewarding. It's never ending, but it is rewarding to your spirit, and it is absolutely worthwhile to keep going. I've tried to apply a lot of these same principles to my life. And I don't have a lot financially at all, but I try to assist people wherever I can. I go the extra mile in service on my job, or I offer a stranger, like a smile or a kind word, especially if they appear to be having, a bad day. will, like, I like to cook, so I will like make a little bit extra for some of my neighbors, especially if I know that they're low on funds or if they're unemployed. Like with the recent furlough, I knew quite a few people who were, not receiving their checks, and I cooked for them a few times, and that brought us closer, actually even more than we were, and it was a huge help to them, and it was wonderful for me to, it was a gift for me to be able to do that. And it's not about bragging. None of this is about bragging. Like, these are things that we should all be doing. And these are things we all can do. So it's not a brag to say that you did something you were supposed to be doing. It's you share it because it's infectious. It encourages other people to give. It encourages other people to remember, what they should be grateful for themselves, that they even have to give, and to remember that they are blessed. And so that's why we talk about it. And that's why I'm glad that we know more about, we receive like this influx of getting news about Mackenzie's donations, because people see that and they remember, like, okay, the world is not like, yes, there's a lot of things going on right now that are really stressful and bad, frankly, but there still are people out here that are giving and that are good, and I want some of that. It's good to see, but it's also good to do, and that's what I want people to remember, is that it's good to do. So do it. And I think I would be remiss if I didn't mention that most of Mackenzie's donations are unrestricted, meaning that those institutions, specifically the schools that she's donating to, they'll be able to disperse her funding, in areas within, their structure where the money is needed. A lot of times when donations are made to schools, they have very specific conditions on where to place that money. So sometimes a student, and I work in higher education, so sometimes a student will wonder, well, why does it appear that, this area of the university is very well funded, but we have so much financial need in other places, and that, but we're getting all this money, and that is the part of, it's a very simple answer to that question, is that when those donations come in, when those endowments specifically, like, those things go towards specific purposes because they are allocated towards specific purposes. And so that her contributions are mostly unrestricted, that really allows an institution to apply the money where it is needed the most, where it's often neglected. And that is another lesson to learn from her philanthropy and just giving overall. Don't expect anything in return. You may give something to someone that they don't appreciate. Doesn't matter. It's your heart and your intention and being thoughtful about it. That's kind of the point, and being selfless about it. Mackenzie is also like turned down offers to, be named, honorary dean or chair, or buildings named after her. She doesn't, appear to be seeking any of that. It's just, here's this money, use it for what you need to use it for. And this is thankless, because again, this is what I should be doing. This is what we should be doing with the resources that we have. So she really, truly seems to be living by this pledge. And again, with whatever you have, wherever you are, like, to get, and whatever you have to give, like, there's no reason that we all can't give, that selflessly. And like, again, I don't have a lot, but, I've committed to donating a few dollars every week throughout the holiday season. It's just the minimum, that I think that I can do. Every little dollar helps. You guys may not believe that, but it truly does. And it's worth it, again. And, we can all use our resources, whatever you have, to offer something, even if it's just kindness. Like, some of the nicest and most encouraging people that I've ever met personally, they have very few earthly possessions. And a lot of them are grateful for every moment, every breath. And they have a wisdom that you cannot acquire by reading a book or getting 18 degrees. You can't buy it in a store. It's just innate, because they have been through a lot, and they just understand that life is about more than having things, obviously. And there's a light, that I've seen, and that I have like gleaned from those folks. And I just hope that as I work on giving back more. I hope that character and that light that I've seen rubs off on me more in them. And I know that as I miss my dad this Thanksgiving, you know, I know he'd be proud of me for committing to this and for being more mindful about this. And so, you know, Dad, I will always continue to make you proud and to move in this fashion. And so with that, you guys, like, do something nice for a stranger this holiday, you know, even if it's just one little tiny thing, you know, make their day, and then try to make it a habit because you will not regret it. And that is, again, that's what we should all be striving for. And so there's a lot to be thankful for, even when you don't think that there is. And so I hope that I've lightened your day, or lightened your holiday, or just added to it, because this video is a part of my giving back too. So I'm wishing you and yours some good grub on this good Thanksgiving. Take good care, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.